Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you today? Let's start our first chapter of science, which is called grouping and classification. Before we begin, let's make dua. Rabbi zidni ilma. Rabbi zidni ilma. O Allah, increase me in knowledge. Ameen. So the name of the chapter is Grouping and Classification. Let's see what are the things that we are going to put in groups and what are the things that we classify. Grouping and classification mean the same. Our first lesson is grouping objects. These are the objectives that we are going to achieve, inshallah. When you finish the whole chapter, this is what you will be able to do. In this lesson, you will, inshallah, learn to define and explain the term classification. So you will know what is classification. Identify the similarities and differences among objects. So how are they same and how are they different? This is what you will be able to do when you look at the objects carefully. You will be able to classify a given set of objects. That is, you are going to be able to sort them into groups, into classes. Classify the same set of objects in a number of different ways, each time using a different common feature. Assort individual objects to already formed groups based on the features they share with the group. So this is what you will be able to do, and you will understand these objectives better when you will be learning. What is this ride called? Very good. It's a slide. And where do you see it? Correct. At the park. What is this? Yes, this is Jim. And what is this? Merry-go-round. What is this? These are swings. What is this? This is a seesaw. And what is this? This is a train ride. All of these different rides and some others are seen at the park. Ali has come to the park today. There are a lot of children playing and enjoying themselves in the park. And you must have seen that yourself too. When you go to the park, there are many other families and children playing there and enjoying themselves. Some are walking, some are on the rides, and some are just sitting and talking to each other. In the park, there are swings, seesaws, merry-go-rounds, slides, monkey bars. These are the monkey bars. And spring riders. Ali looks at them carefully. He notices that some of these rides move while others do not. He takes out his pocket diary and pen and begins to make a T-chart for making a bar graph. Now he's behaving like a scientist. He's wearing his scientist's hat and he's looking at the slides and the swings and the seesaw and the monkey bars, and he is looking at their similarities and differences. How are these rides same? How are they different? And that is why he is noting them down in a T-chart. He has made 2 columns and he's writing their names in 2 separate columns. Now, how is he classifying them? Let's see. Now, this is the T-chart that he has made. Can you help him complete the T-chart that he is making? The first column says rides that move. And the second column says rides that don't move. Now think of all the rides that you have seen in the parks and then make a list of those rides and then try to see the similarities and differences. Which rides can move and which rides cannot. Make a T-chart and write the names of the rides in the correct column. Okay? You can pause the video here and do this task. Now you can make a bar graph out of the list of rides that you have written in the T-chart. Can you help him complete the bar graph he's making? Now you can see that over here we have number of rides. So you can color the boxes according to the number of rides that you have in your list. These are rides that move and these are rides that do not move. The number of colored squares in a bar chart are equal to the number of rides you listed for each type. So this is how you can change your T-chart into a bar graph. Now I would suggest you pause the video here and make your bar graph. So what is grouping or classification? So what has Ali done? Ali went to a park and he divided the rides into two groups, and you have experienced it yourself. The rides that move and the rides that do not move. So he grouped them, he classified them into two different groups. This whole process is called grouping or classification. Here is another group, people who are not riding and people who are riding. These are two different classes, two different groups of people. And what have we done? We have classified them into two groups. Classification or grouping is a process of sorting individual items into groups. These groups or classes are made on the basis of common qualities. Each member of the group has similar qualities. So in the park, Ali has put the swing, seesaw, merry-go-round, and the spring rider in the group of rides that can move. So this is how he has put them into classes, into groups. So this is what he has done based on their common property of moving or not moving. So what has Ali done? Ali has put the monkey bars and the slide in the group of rides that do not move. For sorting the rides into groups, Ali followed these scientific steps. So you can also classify different objects and things based on your criteria or your the common property that you have selected. Now see what are the scientific steps. First what you need to do is observe. So he, that is Ali, observed the objects very closely. And what was he observing? He was observing the rides. Then he found out that some objects, that is the rides, shared some common qualities or features. And what was the common quality? They moved. While the remaining objects or the other rides shared some other qualities, they did not move. So based on this quality, he made two classes. He made groups of the objects that shared common features. So these are the three steps that you can also follow and classify any set of objects into groups. So the first thing is that you observe the objects closely, then you look at their common features and their similarities and differences, how they are same, how they are different, and then put them into groups. Their common feature became the reason for his grouping or classification. Let's be scientists ourselves. We can sort any set of objects into two or more groups using the three steps that Ali used. So the first is observe how the objects are similar and different. Find out the common feature or features. Sometimes there will be one feature, sometimes there will be more than one feature. And what does the word feature mean? Qualities, their characteristics. Group the objects that share a common feature or features. So all the objects that have the same quality will be put in one group, and all the objects that do not have that quality or property or feature will be put in the other group. So what are the three steps? Observe how objects are similar and different. Find out the common feature or features, and then group the objects that share a common feature or features. Do you know that scientists have made groups of plants and animals and many other objects using their common features, like the animals that eat meat? So they are called carnivores. The animals that eat plants and grass, they have a different name. Do you know what are they called? Yes, you're right. And then there are animals that eat all the things. What are they called? They are called omnivores. So animals that eat meat are in one group. They are called carnivores. Animals that eat grass and plants, they are called herbivores. And the animals that eat both, they are called omnivores. So based on their eating habits, they have been classified into three different groups. Then there are other classes also. The animals that live in water, they are called aquatic. And the animals that do not live in water, they live on land, they are called terrestrial. So this is how there are different groups of animals. So scientists have made groups of plants, animals, and many other objects using their common features. This makes it easier to study them. Now, this is the reason why they have been classified, they have been grouped in different groups. Why have the scientists done that? Because this makes it easy to study them. Because studying a group is easier than studying large number of individual objects. And the process is the same that we have already seen on the previous slide. The scientists observed these objects and noticed their similarities and differences. And then they found out common features, and then they put them into groups. They group the objects that share a common feature or features. So they follow the same scientific steps to classify objects. Now here is a task for you. You have to sort objects in the bedroom. So first you have to see what the question is. The question is that you have to sort the objects that are there in the bedroom. So this is your target. How can the things in my bedroom be sorted into groups? Now this is your thinking. This is how you will start thinking. What do you think is the answer? So you will make a tentative answer in your mind. You will think that this is how I'm going to do it. Now, what do you need? Your need is the objects in the bedroom. So you need to make a list. What will you do? You will make a list of all the objects, observe each object closely, and then see how it is similar or different from the other objects, and then you will group the objects with common features in a table. Then you will have to give them a name. You have to name the group. And in the end, you will go back and reflect and look over your list. So what happened? You will make a bar graph to report your findings like a scientist. and then you will write your conclusion. What did you find out? And the process will again be the same 3 steps. Now, what is Salman doing today? Where is Salman? Oh, he's in a supermarket. He can see different display boards that give information about the kind of items displayed in each row. Salman has learnt that this is called classification. Each row contains one class of items, right? One kind of items are on one shelf or in one row. Now he's trying to figure out the common features on the basis of which each group is made. The table that Salman has made is given on the next slide. Help him complete it. Now I would want you to pause the video here and try to complete the table. And here is a project for you. Visit a supermarket and do the same yourself. That is, you will see the groups, you will see different rows labeled as something different, and you will have to then go and look at the objects and determine and decide that how they have been grouped. What are the common features, right? So you will look at the objects carefully and then try to figure out their common features. Okay, now it's assessment. You have to take out your notebook and try to answer all these questions. Define classification. What are the 3 steps of classification? Why is classification or grouping useful in science? Classify the following items in a T-chart. Follow the same process that Ali used for classifying rice. Now the objects are socks, shirt, eraser, paper, pen, ruler, pants, dupatta. So you have to classify them in different groups and then you have to give them names as well. That's all for today. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.